So with the rising popularity of photo sharing apps like Instagram, it's more important than ever to be able to take great photos, whether that's for business and professionally or just for fun and on vacation. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down 7 easy to apply photography tips and tricks coming up. Hey, what's up? Sean here with Think Media, bringing you the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. And on this channel, we do a lot of tech gear reviews as well as tips videos just like this one. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. But hey, I am super pumped to be partnering with Canon to bring you this tips video. And we're actually going to be using the Canon G1X Mark III today for all of these tips. Now you can be following along with any camera, but I love this camera because it has a full APS-C size sensor and a tiny point and shoot body. It's one of the only cameras of its size that can take awesome photo quality. It's got a flip screen as well as a lot of cool features. So let's dive into this. And actually we're gonna be meeting up with Heather and some friends to be taking these photos today and sharing these tips. So let's go do it. All right, so we are here with Suhair, Kaylee, and Heather. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Awesome, and we're super pumped. And our first tip today is actually gonna be about light and location. So let's go find a cool place to shoot some photos.
Choosing the right time of day can massively improve your photos. My favorite time to shoot is either when the sun is rising or setting, known as magic hour. We met up for this shoot around 5:30 p.m., a few hours before sunset.
So tip number 1 is light and location. So this is a super cool location here in Town Square in Las Vegas. And it is a bright sunny day, so there's a lot of light, but typically we like to avoid shooting in direct sunlight. The reason is, if we come over here, it can cause a lot of shadows. So even if you look on me with the sun on me, I cast shadows on my own body. My glasses can cause different shadows on my face. And so right now, if we have Heather and Kaylee and Suhair kind of take a photo on this railing, it could be a nice photo, but we're gonna have a lot of harsh shadows. Heather's hat is gonna cause shadows in her face, and so ultimately we might wanna move. But let's look at how these photos look. Then on Suhair's photo, we could see that the shadow is on her body because of the sun. So what I would prefer to do is actually move into the shade, and all we have to do is step over to this bridge here and see how a small adjustment in light can actually change everything about our photos. Okay, so really we just walked 20 feet out of the sun into the shade. We still picked a great location, but it's much softer diffused light now because we're in the shade. So let's check out how these photos look. So tip number 2 is level your horizons. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they're taking photos is actually making the camera crooked and causing the photo to be not level. Now, you could do this creatively, but too many people do it thinking it's gonna make your photo look creative when ultimately it might just make your photo look unprofessional. And what's cool is that there are features in some cameras to give you a leveling feature. So if I just press info a couple times here, I can bring it up so I can actually get my shot perfectly level so that I am able to get a symmetrical shot that is great each time. And so if your camera actually doesn't have a leveling feature, think about just using whatever is in the shot. In this case, we would level it with the back of the bench. If you can actually see the horizon, it could be the actual horizon of the earth or just buildings or whatnot. But having clean angles in your photos will really help them look better and be more professional. Tip number 3 is nail your focus. Now, focus is one of the best ways to draw attention in photos. And so you want to know, do you want the eye in focus? Do you want an image in focus? Having an out of focus shot could ruin the shot, but having tack sharp focus can really help the shot. And one of the things that I love about Canon cameras is dual pixel autofocus. That means that it's super fast to be able to either touch the screen, track faces, or even do one-point focus that lets you pick exactly what you want to focus on and then recompose. Let's take a photo. We're gonna have the ice cream cone in focus, and then we're gonna have the background blurry. So go ahead and hold the ice cream cone out. We're gonna lock focus right there, recompose, and then snap a photo.
I also like the feature on this camera called Touch Shutter, which allows you to just touch the specific area of the LCD screen that you want to be in focus. Then it just takes the picture automatically.
Tip number 4 is having that nice blurry background. Doesn't everybody love having that in their photos? It's called depth of field or bokeh. And to do it with the camera like this, you'd want to put it on as fast aperture as possible. So we actually have the camera in manual mode. We put it to 2.8 and it's fully zoomed out. And to get that blurry background at 2.8, we're going to want to get as close to the subject as possible. So having the aperture as wide open as possible at like 2.8 is the first way to get that blurry depth of field. The other way is to actually zoom in as far as possible and get further away from the subject. So Kaylee's gonna stay here. I'm gonna move backwards and zoom in and give a different kind of a look to the same shot, creating that blurry background. So tip number 5 is shot composition. Now this is where you can really start to have your photos stand out. You want to get creative and do things that are interesting. And so here are a few ideas.
The first one is the creeper shot. Now that isn't my favorite name, but the goal here is to use something in your environment to creatively frame your shot, which can make your photos much more interesting.
All right, this next composition we like to call just middle of the road, and you've probably seen this before. You have your subject stand in the middle of a road, and the reason why is because there's something about the framing and the symmetry created by a shot like this. So check it out and think about incorporating this in your next shoot. All right, the next tip is incorporate colors and architecture. If you go out to do a shoot, whenever you can add color or cool lines or buildings to shots, it can really take your photos to another level. Let's check it out. All right, the next tip is capture motion and candid moments. You know, a lot of times when we take photos, we just get everyone to pose, they stand stiff. And one of the best ways to take your photography to another level is to get some action going, get some motion going. So right now, we're gonna have Heather walk across the shot here, and we're also gonna test out a couple different photos where we have people kind of laugh a little bit, engage a little bit to try to capture some real life. And one of the cool things about the G1X Mark III is that it can do up to 7 frames a second in photo mode with autofocus on, or even 9 frames a second if you have a single autofocus point. So if you want to do a burst of photos to capture motion, it's got you covered with that high frame rate. All right, and for tip number 7, landscape, panoramic, and cool object shots. And you know, with Instagram carousels, the ability to upload multiple pictures, with the ability to post whole photo albums to Facebook, I encourage you when you're taking photos, don't just do portraits, but also try to capture fun memories from the entire shoot, whether that's objects, panoramics of your area, or just incorporating your subjects into more landscape type of shots.
One of the cool modes that the G1X Mark III has is a panoramic mode. And as you pan the camera holding down the shutter button, it auto stitches the photos together, creating one large, beautiful panoramic photo.
Okay, so I hope that you found those tips helpful. And actually, question of the day, what is your biggest tip for taking better photos? I'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Plus, if you want to check out the G1X Mark III, we'll link to it in the description below. Super cool camera that I think is great for taking on vacation with you, shooting some pro photos with that big sensor. And also, we didn't even talk about the video modes. You could shoot slow motion, 1080p video. It's a great camera for vlogging because you have the flip screen as well. And of course, it takes great photos. And I love the build quality because it's small and portable, so you can take it with you anywhere, but you also have got that large sensor, so you can get great photos no matter what you're doing. So anyways, check that out in the description below if you want to see more info. Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet. And for other videos in our photography tips series, just click or tap the screen right there. For another video from Think Media, click or tap the screen right there. Until next time, Think Media is bringing you the best tips and tools for building your influence with online video. Keep crushing it, and we will talk soon.